Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we have this Audi Q7 with the infamous V8 4.2 liter that is just a monstrosity of, I want to say, junk, because I've seen these with many problems with low miles, and this one does have a lot of miles, about a 140 I think, and unfortunately somebody bought the car from an auction, and the car came with rough idle, bunch of codes, this and that. I managed to fix one problem. There was a problem with the wiring on one of the camshaft position sensors on that passenger side on the bottom, but now I keep getting one code that is P129. It's either B or D. It kind of changed the code a few times, but it means the same thing. And this light would come on, the EPC light, and the engine will start running rough and all this stuff. It'll actually shut down, and then it'll have misfires, all kinds of stuff. So P129, if you see this code, that code technically is for the fuel pressure sensor, and that fuel pressure sensor is actually marked as G247, as you know, with this particular car, G247. The fuel pressure sensor actually sits under. It sits right under the intake, on here on the little bit towards the left side. And I don't think I have a picture here. No, I don't have a picture of it. This is the ECU that I needed some stuff. Okay, it's not here. Okay, this is where it is. It's right on this side underneath. The problem is you have to take the intake out in order to get to it. This is the sensor right here, and this is the plug, and the plug has 3 wires. We're ready to replace this plug because we're doing other stuff on the car, and I did a bunch of other stuff. I had to clean the carbon buildup in the valves. We changed some other parts, and then everything else cleared but this code. And this particular code, when you actually go to the description of the code, so it's again P129, I'll show you, it'll show you 3 different codes. So it's P129, so it'll show B, C, and D. These codes are actually kind of the same, because this is the description of this. And you see it's B, fuel pressure regulator 2, control circuit open circuits. Malfunction is 1, then it's this one, and then it's this one. So fuel pressure regulator 2129D. I've had the B and the D versions, and in this case, this is the actual, I guess this is the criteria of why, or you know, you need to measure wires, but I couldn't figure out in this case which wire this is for. Anyway, I was just trying to show you that these codes are related to the same thing, the fuel pressure regulator, as they call it, and in that case is that sensor, the G247, the fuel pressure sensor. So in order to diagnose this, you guys are gonna have to get to the wires, and we're gonna need to get to these 2 wires, and they are brown, blue, and black. Those are the wires. They're actually connected to the sensor. And the G247 right here, just wanted to show you the wires. Those are the wires here. Now if you don't have a chance To take the intake out, obviously this wiring harness, you can actually slice this insulation in the back of the engine, I'll show you in a second, and test it from there. And all you're going to need is the brown, not the blue, because the blue is the middle. So you have the terminals 1, 2, and 3, and you have brown, blue, and black. And these are the terminals with the schematic here. It's brown, blue, and black, 1, 2, and 3. And in this case, what we need to measure, remember those are the wires from the sensor going to the ECU. I will give you the ECU also, the ECU terminals where you need to measure to see for continuity in the wiring harness if you want to check first. And the ECU in this car specifically is right on the passenger side here. I'll show you in a second. And those are the two plugs. You're gonna need to pay attention to the left smaller plug, and the connectors, they're right here. And I will actually include a picture of this connector right with the video. And I'm trying to show you. Okay, this is the stock, this is the actual original Audi diagram. And again, 1, 2, and 3, so brown, blue, and black. Those are the wires from the sensor to the ECU. If you want to check for continuity to the actual ECU, the terminal connectors are going to be those brown, blue, and black. So they're going to be, I think there were, one is 14 on that plug, 14 terminal or connect or whatever pin, or it's pin 14 for the brown wire, pin 25 for the blue wire, and pin 26 for the black wire, because the black actually connects to these white gray wires, because they actually carry other information here. So the brown wire here going down, and then you have the blue one going down, and then you have the black one going into this white gray. And what you're gonna need to do is, I will show you the terminals in a second, and then I wanted to show you afterwards the voltage check. Where you need to split this, it's actually right here. This is the wire, the wiring harness going on this side of the engine, and it's right there. This is where you split it, and this is the brown, this is the blue one in the middle, and that's the black wire. Those three wires actually are the wires from the sensor, and they go to the ECU. The ECU side would be this, and it's right here. On the bottom was the one wire that's on the bottom, that's the 14. It was right here on the bottom. I can't see it right now, but it's right there. If you move this connector, you'll be able to see it, and I'll show you in a second. Let me see, let me open this. Yeah, so this connector 14 was this brown wire right here, this second one. And you're gonna see, you're gonna read the numbers here in the connector with these digits on the bottom. And here are the digits, as you can see on the left side, the 1, 16, then 31, 46, and then you go to the other side, you're gonna read the other numbers. 15, 30, 15, 30, then the other ones up there. So 14 will be right this wire here, which would be this brown wire right here, the second one right here. That's how you measure for continuity between the 14 and then the 25 and the 26. You can measure right here. You just plug in this 14, then 25 and 26 with with these pins like here. Where are the pins? Well, you can use one of these. Where is it? You can use one of these like this, and you can just plug it inside here and measure with this 14 for continuity, to see whether, at least, first you need to check for the wires. This would be your, on my option is right here where I have the alarm, and that tells me when the alarm comes on, that means the wire is good. So I already checked these and everything was fine, so there's nothing wrong with the wires, because I had a problem with the camshaft position sensor wires. So I wanted to check the wires first, but there's nothing wrong with the wires. And the only thing right now is that the next step was to diagnose the actual signal coming from the computer or the ECU to this sensor. And my problem is here with number one. This is to connect the brown, remember, brown, blue, black. So the brown wire, which is number one on the connector, and we need to have battery voltage right here. We need to have battery voltage, and unfortunately in our case we don't have the battery voltage. And I'll show you what we have in a second. I need to turn the car on. So remember, we're checking the brown, number one, right here. It's connected to the brown wire. One terminal here. The other terminal needs to be connected to the positive. Remember, that's the instructions to positive right there, directly to the positive. And we need to have the actual electricity of what the battery has, and here it is. Here's the problem: we don't have that. And guys, I'm just gonna tell you, you will never see a voltage like this in a car unless there's something wrong. You never get a 6 volts just anywhere. So obviously something's going on with the ECU. In this case, it's the ECU burnt, unfortunately. Also, one weird thing that I saw when this car came was the fuel pumps. One was changed, the other one wasn't. So, or this was a replaced pump. This is an old pump, and I know I did a lot of research on these, and apparently this fuel sensor here inside of the driver's side pumps actually, and a lot of times will intermittently start shortening inside, getting a short, and it will send a signal with the short back to the ECU and kill the ECU. There's actually videos online that literally they claim, this is like the sensor that kills the ECUs. So I'm not sure this happened before, and they changed the pump for that reason, so the ECU was already killed, and now just a consequence is that the sensor, I'm not getting the proper voltage to that sensor as a consequence after the case. But anyway, that's how you check it. Brown, blue, and black. Again, if you end up having this code, there's almost no information online or anywhere else. But because this code is an electrical code, you need to do your due diligence to check. If you want to check the black wire, you need to connect one to the brown wire, the other one to the ground connection, meaning a negative, and you need to have about 5 volts, which we have in our case. The only problem is this one. We need to have battery voltage, and we don't have it. So another one bites the dust, or ECU burnt on these Volkswagens, and I have done a bunch of these, and unfortunately, so we're gonna try to see what we're gonna get. And like I said, we're gonna have to talk to the customer now in this case, because we did a lot of additional other work, and now we're gonna have to give them the bad news. But it is what it is. It's not our problem. Possibly we'll try to get another ECU in this case and try to reprogram it and install it on this car. but I just wanted to make this video because it's a very strange problem. There isn't a lot of information online, and that's the diagnostic again, guys. We already changed the sensor. I just wanted to change it in any case because I was going to open this intake. The sensor is not expensive. I think it was like 40 bucks. And I had this situation a couple more times, I believe, if not even more, with other engines of these Q7s giving problems because of that sensor. So I always know that you have to replace that sensor. Yes, unfortunately in this case you can try to replace it, or you can try to diagnose before you replace the sensor, the ECU or the wiring harness. I kind of, because I was there, we decided to change the sensor anyway. And you know, you don't really think first that the ECU is burnt. I leave this as a last resort, you know, after the whole complete diagnostic, in case, you know, this car continues, or whatever car you're working on continues to give you problems. So the only thing, like right here, you're gonna need to, I took off a little connector here. This right here mounts to the one of the bolts on the valve cover here, so it'll give you some space. And then I sliced the insulator to get to those wires. But it's not a whole lot of work and pretty easy diagnostic, and I already showed you what you need to do. Again, terminals 14, 25, 26, 1, 2, 3 on the connector, and it's brown, blue and black wire of those. And you remember I showed you the two the two wires, what you need to get and where you need to connect them. That's how you diagnose if you know, in worst case scenario you have a problem with the ECU. Best case scenario, your pressure sensor, your fuel pressure sensor is actually burnt. Okay guys, well, I hope you guys fix your cars with this helpful video that I just made, and I hope you enjoy and have fun when you're doing it. And please don't hesitate to send questions in the comments, and I will try to answer your questions and everything and all your concerns in the comment section. And please like my videos and please subscribe, and thanks very much. I'll see you in the next video.